Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another post-show breakdown here at the BC WrestlePod Network conglomeration, YouTube, Twitch, whatever we're calling it these days. And we have made it to the end of another week in wrestling, and let me tell you, for us TNA folks over here, it has been a journey. Uh, Listen, it is no secret that for once in a blue moon, the internet wrestling community had all agreed on something, and that AMC debut of TNA was dog doo doo. It was
Mhm.
garbage, mama. It was so bad. And so going into Genesis, I'm just like, well, the bar's in hell, so I'm just like, you really can't go worse. And thankfully, Genesis, while not necessarily the best, I wasn't mad at it. Though I do have some things that we need to discuss today because I'm just like, what are we doing? And it kind of perpetuated into last night's episode too, which I'll briefly talk about at the end. But my name is Mikey. I am El Jefe of BC WrestlePod. I run the ones and twos, and I am the face that runs the place. I am the franchise player to take, a moniker from Moose. Um, and joining me this evening is my ride or die, the Grand Poobah, my right hand man. He is my wrestling husbando. And he was in the building for this one too. Papa Oso himself, Will.
Hello.
I know it has been rough to be a TNA fan these last couple of weeks.
It is. Yeah, agreed.
uh, I was like, Lord help us. But we are here tonight to break down TNA Genesis, the first pay per view for TNA this year. And alrighty, it it's gonna be an interesting one for sure. I'm very excited to get Papa Oso's thoughts as he again for the second year in a row was in the building. So we got to play Where's Waldo with him all the time while I was watching it from home. So it was really fantastic. The camera really did love you that evening because we saw you a lot of.
Apparently, it's so funny
Oh
because
my
I had no
goodness.
idea.
It's fantastic. But before we get into all of that, though, if you are new here to BC WrestlePod or if you've been rocking with us for the last 3.5 years, you already know the drill. YouTube, Twitch, and Kick is where you can find our lives. That YouTube also houses our edited reviews that go up the following day. But if you are looking for something more self contained, our social medias at BC WrestlePod is where you can find our report cards and the predictions and the previews of the weekly shows. It's a lot of fun over there. And of course, we also have some merchandise at our shop, BC WrestlePod shop.fourthwall.com. And if you want to help us, because there's a lot of streaming apps and platforms that we have to have in order to cover all the stuff we do. But you know what? It is worth it. So if you want to help donate to the cause to keep the lights on, so to speak, and to help us pay for the streaming services, it is wild. But we're done with all of that. Let's get into why we're here tonight, which is TNA Genesis. Again, the first pay-per-view of 2026 for TNA. And they wasted no time because leading into this pay-per-view, they already announced like, hey guys, we're about to have another mega sale of events coming near you. And so I'm going to talk more in depth about it at the end of the show, but Genesis is just the start because TNA also announced No Surrender for February and Sacrifice for March. So I'm like, all righty, here we go. I was like, we're getting a February pay per view now because last year I don't think we got a February pay per view. It's like, oh yeah, we had Genesis and then rolled straight into Sacrifice in March. But we'll see with all that. All righty, we are here to talk about Genesis. Let's talk about this pre-show because we did have two matches on the pre-show. We're going to start with our TNA International Championship match in a fatal four-way. The reason why, because Santino was being petty and he wanted to get some revenge on Stax and by proxy Ariana Grayson's whole debacle too. So Stax had to defend his TNA International Championship. Mind you, NXT's Stax had to defend the
Mhm.
TNA International Championship against
Mm-mm.
Eric Young, BDE, and a one Mr. KJ Orso, who shout out to KJ. I love you so much, my little independent wrestling darling. I love KJ. I'm biased.
He was great.
So I'm just sitting here and I was just like, Santino, I love the pettiness, but let's be so for real. I looked at this field and I was like, yeah, Stacks is gonna keep it.
Yeah, we all knew it. We all knew it. There was no surprise.
No, listen, Eric Young's character right now has me questioning a lot of things. I was kind of surprised to see how not involved in his match
Yeah.
he was for like a good chunk of it. I was just like, he's just there. I was just like, we could have just had a triple threat, honestly. Because I
Yeah.
was like, Eric Young's not doing anything. What is happening?
I don't even really know why he was in this.
I don't either. Like BDE, I'm like, okay, he's the new signee. He's one of the younger guys. Makes sense. KJ Orso is in Texas, so I was just like, TNA loves to feature, independent wrestlers in the towns that they're in. So love KJ. But Eric Young, you are an anomaly to me for this match.
Yeah. And can I just say that this match was okay. It belonged where it was, but
Spoiler alert, we're gonna be saying that a lot this episode.
yeah, we really are. And but I will have to say that it was so gross. Yeah, it was Stax and Ariana. They were so gross. And it's way worse in person.
Oh, it was so
Way
hard to
worse.
watch on TV, but I can only imagine in person watching them make out.
It was so gross.
Down with love. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's so funny because it's like, well, that's, okay.
We know you're a real couple, but guys, do
Yeah.
we really gotta see you
But
make out every
man,
5 seconds on my TV screen?
I mean, I'm not a big PDA person anyway, so it was gross. Everyone was just like, please go away.
Yeah. There were some highlights for me in this match, though. I really do like BDE and the energy he brings to this. He brought to this match. I mean, just again, the moves and the maneuvers he was doing. I really love the cutter where he jumped off the ropes to kind of give him that bounce and then hit the cutter, which is a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite spots right now. But dang, man, I'm just like, yeah, Stacks, you're gonna keep this title, and we're gonna have to deal. We're gonna have to deal with it. Not just here, we have to deal with it in NXT too.
Yeah, the funny thing, but the sad thing about this match is I mean, BDE and KJ and Eric, I mean, they were there, but you could tell that this was a Stacks match. Because he was like constantly center of everything. And it was sort of like everybody against him. And I was just like, okay. But I was like, I don't understand the purpose of this match. One, I mean, like I said, it wasn't not entertaining,
but predictable.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, everybody in the crowd, especially the people where I was sitting, we were all like, "Oh, this is a sham." It's like, everyone was like, "Oh, Stax is going to win." We all know he's going to win. We know, blah blah blah. It was just like, yeah.
But you know what? As a sidebar, let me tell you, it's really nice when you get really cool people in your section to talk about the event with as it's happening live. Because it's like we're all there for the same reason to watch wrestling, and it's really nice when we can agree. That's how I felt at Rebellion too, when I went last year. Hold up, I gotta bring Erica's comment in here. This lineup: the Meaton, the Metten Hater, the Hardy Bros, third cousin, the fourth Friday movie extra, and should have stuffed my shorts. Lord help us. I kind of agree. This was a weird ensemble of choices of people to have in this match. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm saying it didn't make any sense. Not
It did
a single
not.
bit of it made any sense.
It did not. But Stacks is still our international champion. I'm like, okay. I was like, let's fine. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, I kind of figured we were getting that match because even I love you, TNA, but I was like, why did I have to find out on a Santino social media video like hours before the show this match was happening? And I was like, oh, this is cool and everything. So I was like, okay, wait a minute. We still got like 25 minutes before the actual show start. What are you about to do? And sadly, this is what we got. This match was literally made like on the actual pre-show itself with the quick backstage segment, and then this is what we had. So first and foremost, let me just set up the match. So this is a tag team match. This is the Diamond Collective with being represented by Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore, who I don't know who chose this picture for you, Mila, but girl, I was just like, this does not look great. I don't like it. I was like, what is this photo? I don't understand. But anywho, and they are taking on the team of, Indy Hartwell and Vicious Vicky Venato, who is an independent wrestler too. This match was fine.
It was all right.
Again, we're gonna be saying that a lot. It was fun. Here's the thing: TNA really had a lot to make up for after the Thursday Go Home show, which is with their AMC debut.
Yeah. Well, they weren't doing too good because this match. Indy was great. Tessa was great. It was. It was just a bunch of, hey, let's be the mean girls and pick on the new girl.
It was so weird. This felt like a Thursday match than a pre-show pay-per-view match.
Yep.
Again, and this is
a lot of those that felt like they should have been on a Thursday episode.
Oh, especially listen, I love you, Mara Sade, but let's be so
that
for
was
real.
Such a Thursday episode.
We're gonna talk about that when we get to your match, girl, because we love you, but dang, man, dang. But here's the thing, right? So I think I can only speak for me when I say this. My mindset is when you have a pay-per-view and you get pre-show matches or 0-hour matches like AEW calls them. These are the matches that are for free on the YouTubes right now. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, y'all got to make me want to watch that main card show. I'm already paying for all these subscriptions anyways, but so I'm going to watch it because, we run a podcasting network. But at the same time, if I'm just a casual person, I'm just like, oh, I want to check out TNA. Oh, they got the free matches for the pre-show. Let's take a look. I'm going to be so for real. If I was any other random person, if it wasn't, unless I had a connection with the Hardys, because the Hardys always are the selling point, because a lot of people know who the Hardys are and they're still wrestling. Yeah. So that's a big selling point. But if I was just a casual watching TNA, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to pay for the full card, you guys. Like, it's not speaking to me.
Yeah, this match didn't do any good for anybody in it.
No, it did not.
Nothing whatsoever.
Especially on Thursday, like I thought Indy was still going to be fighting the Diamond Collective, and then we just pivoted to her fighting another faction. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was, like I said, it was okay. It was fun to watch in person, but it was another one that's like, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have missed it.
No, we could have had something else.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? Going into Genesis, we already knew we were running into some problems because of visa issues. Our X Division champion could not be here to do the triple threat match for the title. And then our TNA Knockouts challenger couldn't be there. So, like on the show on Thursday, the AMC debut, we had to swerve and pivot and make some changes. So I was just like, ugh, all right, well, which like some changes, I was like, oh, okay, I like this. Others, I don't know if it was successful or not, but we'll talk about that. But the Diamond Collective pick up the victory over Vicious Vicky Venato and Indy Hartwell. So, yay, I guess. I will say, though, shout out to Tessa Blanchard, her and her longtime boyfriend, CMLL Luchador Esfinge, proposed to her. So they are to be engaged to get married. So, down with love. No, I'm just kidding. No, we love it. I was just like, we love, and shout out to the happy couple. There was a lot of engagements in the wrestling world that happened over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. It was so much to keep up with. Which goes to tell you, that's how long Tessa has been missing from TNA television. And I was just like, she popped up for the pre-show and then poof, she's gone again. Which I'm gonna be so for real. I'm not mad at that.
Nope.
I do need Robert Stone to go away. I was like, when he plays the heel, I'm like, God, you're annoying. I know it's your job, but God, you're annoying. And we can only have one annoying like manager character, and that is the Iceman for the concierge for the
Yeah.
Elegance brand. There can only be one.
Yep. Agreed.
Alrighty. I will say though, it was really nice to see Ash on commentary. Like
Mm-hmm.
during the pre-show, I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's a babyface. I'm kind of here for babyface Ash." Not gonna lie. Oh, but girl, we gonna talk about it at the end though, because like she got in the ring and did some stuff on Thursday. I was like, oh, "Are we mounting a comeback? Let's go!"
Seriously. Like, yes, please.
Please, we love you, Ash. We love you. Alrighty. When your character isn't threatening, just annoying. Yeah, that's how the Diamond Collective is, honestly. I was just like, they're just annoying, not threatening. Alrighty, that is the pre-show. So now let's get into the nuts and bolts of this, the rest of this breakdown. So let's get into the main card. I'm gonna put this out here now because I don't want to keep bringing it up. But TNA, we made some choices in the order of matches we got because I was just like, huh. They made some weird choices of where we put certain matches. And again, I don't work for TNA. I'm not one of the backstage people, but in my opinion, you have to try to navigate the card and make it build so the energy will continue to rise. We have a bunch of dips and valleys and placements of matches that, now that we got through it all, I'm like, yeah, nope, yep, this sums it up perfectly. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a night of meh. There was some really good stuff, but at the same time,
I wouldn't say it was a night of meh. I would say the overall pay-per-view was okay. But there was some damn good stuff happening.
the highs were the highs and the
And it may
lows
have been
were
because
really.
I was live and I was sitting there, and maybe that's the energy's just different. But I mean, I wouldn't say it was meh. I would have said that, and now I will say that it was not as good as last year. Last year was way
Top
better.
notch. It was so good last
And I
year.
think the problem with this one is the placement of matches. If they had put the matches in different places, like the whole shot, like that whole match with her and what's his name,
Ryan Nemeth.
thank you, Ryan. I mean that should have been, honestly, that should have been a pre-show. That should have been a pre-show match, but
For real.
But yeah, I think it was pretty good, actually. I mean, like I said, it wasn't last year. It wasn't last year because last year was off the hook. But I paid good money to go and sit in that arena, and it was worth the money I paid.
Yeah. Sometimes being there live is definitely different, but the highs were highs for me though, because there were some really good matches here. Like this first one we're going to talk about, I was pleasantly surprised of how much I really enjoyed this match.
I didn't hate it.
I did not either. So the opening up, we have AJ Francis versus Rich Homie Swan. So of course, I will say this: however we feel about AJ Francis and his character, like putting that aside, I'm actually very upset for him and Rich because their feuds, the build to this feud has been nothing but like social media, like digital exclusives. Like we didn't get the full story. I was like, TNA, what are we doing? I was like, listen, I was just like, this actually had a story going into it, and the only build that you did was through the quote unquote digital exclusives. I'm like, why are we doing this? Why is this not on my TV screen? Like, but that's beside the point. But getting into the match itself, I was really pleasantly surprised of how much I enjoyed this. I think whatever you say, I think TNA has probably their best heel in AJ Francis right now, given the state of the roster after everything. So I'm kind of like, you should probably start doing some more stuff with AJ since he really is your like true heel. And Rich coming out with his old gimmick of him dancing with the ladies at the beginning had me cracking up. I was like, oh, Rich, I have missed you in this version. But damn, this is some really solid wrestling. AJ Francis doing some really cool stuff. Rich Swan pulling out. There was a lot of near falls. I had a good time with this one.
No, I did too. I didn't hate it. And usually anything AJ Francis is in, I usually hate. And I didn't hate this at all. I thought it was pretty good. And I think it's because to me it felt like a revenge story, you know. Because I mean, AJ he was treating Rich like shit, and this was sort of, even though Rich didn't win the match, it was still he gave AJ a whooping, and the crowd was all on Rich's side, all on his side. It was great.
It really was. And I mean, so on the one hand, at first I wasn't too happy that we're running it back again next week and for AJ versus Rich Swann again. But this time it's a no holds bar, which essentially is no DQ. So it's like, okay, let's see how we do. And I'm like, Rich better win this one.
Well, isn't this the third one? Isn't this their third match? Because didn't they have another one before Genesis?
I don't think no, they haven't.
Oh, so it's possible we could see this at least 2 more times.
That's true. The rule of 3, man. The rule of 3. But as Papa also said, AJ Francis with 2 down payments, which is the finisher for AJ on Rich Swann for the win. And again, we're running it back next Thursday. And not only is it no holds bar, but according to our commentary team last night on the TNA episode, it is main eventing the show next week. So that should be interesting to see. So which I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. So
very cool.
Very, very fun. But yeah, a really solid opening to the main card. And I was just like, oh boy, what's next?
Hey, it was a pretty darn good match, actually. Live. It was pretty good. I mean, I'm kind of over their whatever they've got going on, but the crowd was in it,
which is nice. I was mad at this match because the camera guys kept messing it up. I was like, you're messing it up, you guys.
Yeah, the cameramen were all over the damn place in this one.
Jeez Louise. But next up was our second match of the main card. It was a singles match. Elijah taking on Mustafa Ali. Love Ali to death. I'm ready for him. Just picture alone, I was like, Ali, just lean into Namor. Lean into Namor. Like, let's just do that. Do that. Because I was just like, hey, we're here for this. And it would mean Order 4 goes away. And I'm okay with that.
Amen.
Not the talent, but the concept of their faction is annoying.
Oh, it is. It's so annoying.
I will say, this one did have a build to it. Now, the build was a little hit or miss on the TV episodes because usually it would involve, somebody getting El Kabonged at one point. Though the Go Home Show angle had me laughing when we had that Western spaghetti montage of Elijah on a horse chasing Order 4 in the back lot of the arena and watching Tasha Steelz try not to crack up the entire time. I was like, okay, this AMC debut episode is doo-doo, but this part actually kind of ruled. I'd love more of that, please. But
yeah, it was, it was funny because we all knew what was going to happen. That was the thing, and this funny thing is the crowd was very much like, we know what's going to happen. We know. But it was okay. And the whole time that this was happening, I was just sort of like, okay, so what exactly is it that we're doing here? Like, what's the purpose of this? I mean, I know that Mustafa Ali is all like, oh, you basically humiliated me, and now it's my time to humiliate you, which he failed at because he didn't humiliate him at all. He just like knocked him down, and we were just like, oh, okay.
The motivation for this feud and going into this match was not there. I was like, what are we fighting for, gentlemen? What are we fighting for?
Yeah, it was everyone was sort of like, everyone was on Elijah's side. Everyone was like, yeah, Elijah, we love you. Mustafa Ali, you suck. And
I love that you had to add the vocal fry. Like,
yeah, you suck. So yeah, but no, both of them are great wrestlers. They really are. I just don't think this feud is developed enough. Like, honestly, I mean, they've had a few interactions with each other, and then there was the big thing in El Paso, and then there was this. But I'm just like, I don't really know what their beef with each other is.
No, and unfortunately, we're running it back again because I was just like, hold up. I was just like, we just had Elijah and the Hardys take on,
Yeah.
So, and I was just like, whatever, man. So we're running it back, but Ali does pick up the victory here, and I'm gonna be completely honest. When me and other Will did the predictions, I was like, Ali kind of has to win this one because of where we ended 2025 with Ali. Was not in great position for him in order for. So I'm like, Ali needed to win this one. But since we're gonna continue on with this feud, Elijah's probably gonna win the second one, and then who knows who's gonna win the last one. But I'm like, give me a monsters ball, darn it. TNA, pull the trigger. Let's do it.
Well, technically, this was the second one.
That is very true. So now the third one, I was like, all right, let's see what we're doing. I mean, no surrenders coming up in Tennessee, so let's see what
So maybe
happens.
that's what this will end. Yeah, it's like, the thing I've noticed about Ali recently is that him and his little group, they're like picking fights with everybody.
I was just like,
And there's no focus.
everybody's picking fights with everyone. And I was like, guys, we need to focus. Like, you can have beef with everybody, but let's focus at one beef at a time. But
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's and let's play it out a little bit. Let's create a story behind it. As opposed to, I just don't like you. Like, okay. Well, I mean, okay, boring, but all right, if that's what you want to do. So
right.
yeah, this whole beef with each other makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Thanks to some interference from Tasha Steeles and order for Ali picks up the victory over Elijah, we are not quite done with this feud. So we will be keeping tabs on this as this feud develops. Ah. The point of sports entertainment is to be entertaining. Mission failed. Probably the feud for this one has been it's not the worst thing I've seen. But yeah. Alrighty, we're gonna move on to our third match of the card though, because I was very surprised that we put this towards the front half of the show, not even on front. So this is the final dance. This is the retirement match for JDC taking on his homie and friend of 20 plus years, Mr. Eddie Edwards here. I like this match because of all the homages to different wrestlers in TNA's history that they were paying homage to. I'm just still I'm trying to find a way to articulate this as the best way that I can. I was like, I liked it. It was pretty good. I think the wrestling was solid, but I think the placement of it felt a little weird to me. I'm not saying it should have main evented the show by any means, but I was just like, dang, like we put this in the third match in the first half of the thing. So I'm like, okay. So they were getting gassed by the end, though. I think too. That was the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, this match was actually pretty good. I thought it was really good. I don't like I don't like the outcome of it. I thought the outcome of it was bullshit, and
Papa,
I didn't really like the placement of it either.
You.
Do what now? Sorry.
I was gonna say, I was like, Papa, I love you, but we have had this conversation. Retirement matches, unless you are the Undertaker, you never win the retirement.
I don't care. I think that's what, and I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. Now, if it's someone who I think the wrestler should have the choice. I think the wrestler should have the choice. Like, do you want to go out as a winner, or do you want to go out like, oh, I got destroyed? And people are going to choose to get destroyed. But I mean, you don't come on and create this whole video package of his career Get the audience completely empathically and on his side, emotionally on his side, and then have him lose. It's like introducing that one character at the beginning of the show. You put him through all kinds of hell, and then you kill him at the end. No, you don't fucking do that. You don't. You want that's in movies. If that happens in movies, I literally get up and walk out. I literally get up and walk out. And this was one of those. I was up on my feet when this was happening, and when he lost, it wasn't just me. The people around me were the same way. They were like, "That was bullshit."
Oh man, I love it when I get to poke the bear, metaphorically and physically too. With this one, no, I get you. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know, but I mean, it was like, they wrestled great. Eddie didn't pull any of his punches, which is what JDC told him not to, and so they were like on fire, and it was great to watch. And and the reason I really like the match is because I got to see two wrestlers who are good friends, who respect one another, wrestle without all the other, company bullshit around them. I wasn't watching two members of the system fight each other, which was so nice. And it was so neat. And it was, in person, it was extremely emotional in person. I was sitting there and I was just like, wow, I didn't think I would get that emotional over like JDC. And I did. And when he lost, I felt like I lost. And I was so angry. And I was so pissed. And I was pissed for him. And he was fine with it, obviously. But I was just like, dude, you should have won that match. Eddie, I don't give a shit. He should have won that match. And I get it, it's funny because I was talking to there was a guy sitting in front of me. It was these three guys that were together, and we were chit-chatting about it between matches, and then I kind of came to I still think it's bullshit, but I came to the okayness of it. It's like, at least it was Eddie Edwards that beat him, and it wasn't some random person. It's like, so I was like, okay, I can take some solace from that at least it was like his friend that beat him. But I still was like, I was still bullshit. Because JDC he was wrestling his ass off. And I'm like, and there were moments where I'm like, yeah, you're showing Eddie up. I was like, yeah, I just,
two vets of the industry going at it.
Yeah.
They've been wrestling for like 20 plus years at this point. But we had a brief Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair moment. It's like, I'm sorry, I love you. Boston knee party. Eddie wins the match, retires JDC. JDC, thanks the crowd. He goes around the crowd, hugs, our commentators and, our doc, and then goes up the ramp with, the baby faces of TNA on there celebrating him. Is like, did a one final goodbye and then, left. So it's just like, JDC, we thank you for your service in the professional wrestling world for the last 20 years. You have been a very fun character, and at least in TNA, you have been really fun to watch. You and Mike Santana still have my favorite match of yours when you were in TNA, where you were bleeding like crazy. So I loved it. So I was like, we had to say goodbye to JDC, but we go from that to this, and that's what I was so mad. I was so mad.
I will absolutely admit that this was a crap match.
This was garbage. I was just like, I'm gonna be so for real. As much as the four-way for the international championship was kind of like cool and okay, I would have swapped that match with this one. Put the international championship on the main card, and this should have been on the pre-show. Because what was this? What purpose did it serve if Mara Sade was not going to win? I don't understand.
It served no purpose whatsoever. I literally was just like, what are we doing?
I was just like, I will admit, watching Mara Sade super kick Ryan Nemeth leading into this match in their backstage vignettes over the last couple weeks has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm mad that Ryan Nemeth won. I know in wrestling writing, it makes sense because he's been getting his butt handed to him by Mara the whole entire time. And so he had to cheat to win, but this was pure filler and it was not good a filler match. I was just like, it was less than 5 minutes. Ryan Nemeth cheats by holding the ropes to pin Mara Sade. This was just, and the crazy thing is this felt like one of those fighting game moments for those of us gamers out there where Mara Sade is your friend who plays the game very well and is able to hit all the combos, and then you're Ryan Nemeth and just spams the finisher by accident and luck to win the whole entire match. And I was just, this is what it gave me. And I was just like, I am disappointed. And to quote a meme that my friend sent me is just like, my disappointment isn't immeasurable and my day has been ruined. Not really, but I was just like, this was the worst match of the night. I'm gonna be honest.
It was completely useless.
We could have put this on a Thursday episode, you guys. This
felt or like not a Thursday at all.
TV episode.
Or not
at all would have been great too. God, this Anywho.
Yeah.
Ryan Nemeth wins.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Moving on.
Boom.
Unfortunately, indeed.
Then we got this one. And you froze on me.
Here we go.
All right, there you are. Wait.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
The internet didn't like. Okay, I was like, I pressed all the wrong buttons, but let's talk about this one. There we go. Because this was match of the night for me, and I'm pretty sure for you too. But this match was so good. And I'm not just saying this because it's women's wrestling and we love women's wrestling in this household. But this for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Liang Li, our champion, defending against NXT's Zarya. As we all know, this was originally supposed to be, our TNA talent, Dani Luna, in this spot for Zarya. But due to visa issues, she is still stuck in the UK along with our TNA X Division champion, Leon Slater. And so on the Go Home show, we got NXT sending over Sol Ruka and Zarya. With Sol Ruka, having Zarya take the opportunity to fight in this match. And listen, this was one of the smartest decisions TNA could make with these visa issues because you had Dani Luna, who is one meat muffin, and you substitute her in for Zarya, who is another meat muffin, and you still got the same results. And my God, this is my favorite match of Genesis. And dare I say, I think this is probably the strongest match for Liang Li since being in TNA. This is probably Zarya's best match so far in her career, too, that we've seen her. Because she's had some really good matches, but this one was great. The only issue that I had with this match was the weird placement of the elegances. I was just like, they did not need to be here because I'm going to be so for real. When they came out and started causing problems, I was like, oh, God, is Zarya about to win due to shenanigans? I was like, no! But thank God, because I was just like, listen, we already went through that chapter of NXT holding the TNA Knockouts title, and we just got it back. Please don't send it back over to NXT, never again. But other than the elegance is running interference for some odd reason, my God, what a match!
This match was electric. I mean, the crowd was insane. It was insane. And let me tell you how impressively intimidating Zarya is in real life.
God, she is a beast.
Like when she came walking down that ramp, and I'm literally 1 seat away from the ramp where I was at. And so I mean, she was very close to me. And I was just like, damn, she is a huge woman. Like tall and broad.
She is your dummy mommy.
And I was just like, wow. And then it's so funny because then Liang Li is so small. It was like David and Goliath out there. I mean, it really was. But man, yeah, this match was I stood through this whole match, I think. I think most of us did. It was so good. It was so good. And and the Elegance brand, I mean, that was fine and all. I mean, they for the most part they just stood there and stared at everybody.
Right,
But
because they were observing Zarya and Sol because, prior to this, a couple days later, there would be a triple threat match on NXT. Check out that review from Tuesday.
right.
Because we were determining who would fight the Elegance brand girls for the Knockouts tag titles, and lo and behold, it's going to be Zarya and Sol, so that should be fun.
Yeah.
But prior to that, they were scouting out the competition, and then they decided to make themselves known. I'm like, no shenanigans in this match.
I didn't think there were going to be any shenanigans. I it didn't have that feel. It was so funny because, they stepped out. For the most part, most people didn't even notice that they had stepped out. Until the people across from us were like, "Oh no," and we're like, "What?" And we turned and they were there, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But it didn't have that feel. The energy wasn't in the air, so it's like, okay, so either they're just standing there to try to intimidate, or throw someone off their game. But I did not feel that Zarya was gonna win at all. I was like, there's no way Zarya is winning this title. Liang Li is gonna retain it. No matter what, something's good. Whether I was thinking whether they interfere or not, there's no way Liang Li is not walking out with this title. And so yeah, and she did, and it was so good. It was so good. And Zarya is so great. It's one of those, man, talk about a great human being. It's like she was so, for the most part, she was so graceful. Like shaking hands and doing all that. It was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed. This was my match of the night for sure.
I'm telling you, there's something in the water over there in Australia, because across all the promotions we have, the major promotions we cover here in the States, all the Australian talent that have been signed there, like they are the most intimidating mofos that you can think of, especially in the women's side of things. And then they are the sweetest people in real life too. Like I was just
Right.
like, Australia, I don't mess with your wildlife, but you know what? Thank you for creating amazing Australian wrestlers and characters and people, because they are fantastic and we love them. And I mean, we're going to see more of Zarya and Sol in TNA, or at least around the TNA talent, because they are, after this Tuesday, #1 contenders for the TNA Knockouts Championship. So we're going to continue to follow that feud when we get there. But we got a show to keep going. Honestly, I think this is probably we still have a week to go, but I think I'm declaring this as my favorite TNA match of January. Which is really,
yeah.
I will say Bear versus Frankie is a close second for me, because that match was also really good.
Yeah, this was good. This was banging.
Alrighty. So we go from this to this, and I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, TNA, we shot ourselves in the foot. Listen, I love me the Hardys, like more than anyone. Our host JT, yes, Zarya is 6'1". Girl is big. So she is Dami Mommy. Anyways, but back to this one. TNA, I love the Hardys. I love the Hardy Boys. Like, everybody loves the Hardys. JT, our host, lives and breathes by them. That they are the people that got him into professional wrestling all those years ago, and he will stand by them. With that being said, and I love the Hardys to death. I feel like I'm in the minority when I say this, but like I feel like the Righteous should have won this one, because now who the Hardys have to face? They beat everyone already. The Righteous were the new tag team, and they lost. I was like, it
Yeah,
seems we're going to continue this feud, but I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think the Righteous will eventually take the titles. I don't think this was the time though.
This was a weird match.
This did not feel like a losing match for the Hardys.
Mm.
You know, and I was like, okay, this is just going to be a Hardys going, okay, put them in their place, and then maybe at either the next pay-per-view or even prior to that, who knows. But I think the Righteous will eventually take the titles from them. I really think they would, but I just didn't. I was not by any means, when I was sitting in that audience, never once said I fear that the Righteous were going to take those titles. It didn't have that feel. It didn't have it didn't feel like the stakes were high enough.
So here's in the building, but when I was watching it from home, this match felt a little off to me in the sense was, I mean, of course, there was that one spot where Jeff rolled out of the ring and then they had to like roll Matt all the way to the other side to get the pin for the, I was like, Jeffrey, what are we doing? Why are we on the wrong side of the ring, my guy? But other than that, I think don't get me wrong, the match was solid. I really like it. Of course, you have it, but the crowd loves the Hardys. Everyone loves the Hardys. My biggest complaint I had about this match is that I understand that we were telling story in the middle of this match because the Righteous are playing mind games with the Hardys still even afterwards. But I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, this was a weird way to go about it. So I was just like, TNA, I have questions. I have questions because I was just like, this was a weird way to set up this feud continuing. And we're continuing this feud because on Thursday, the Hardys and the Righteous are still going at it with, back and forth promos. But I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, this is a weird story, you guys. I'm probably going to still be interested in it because I'm a weirdo and I love weird wrestling stories. But I'm like, the choices we made to further the plot were interesting and questionable at best for me.
I agree. And by no means was this the perfect match. I'm not saying that because it did have its issues. And I think that we're getting to the end of the Hardys run anyway, but because they're having a lot of harder time sort of maintaining, and
them age on that body is showing like,
that's why I think there was a lot of down moments in this match.
There was a kind of a start and stop to certain aspects of the match,
and I think it's because they were getting tired.
Well, also this will do it to you, according to Erica, flying off ladders for 33 years.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, but yeah, I think it's one of those. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to catch up to him, and I think that's why I think the Righteous will be taking the titles sooner than later.
So I mean, they might do it on TV. I mean, we have No Surrender and Sacrifice the next 2 months for the next 2 pay-per-views for TNA, which is the On the Road to Rebellion in April, which I'm crossing my fingers and toes and any other appendage that it goes back to LA, because if Genesis came back to Dallas, I'm like, please come back to Los Angeles for Rebellion.
I know, right?
I was just like, Lord, please, because that was a fun show. Minus the Tessa Blanchard and Masha Slamovich match, because nobody cared about Tessa in that match. I was just like, it was rough. But other than that, everything else was pretty good. So the Hardys are still your TNA World Tag Team Champions. We are still feuding between the Hardys and the Righteous. So more developments on this as the weeks go on. But let's get into this one. This is our semi-main event of the show. Originally, this was scheduled to be a TNA X Division Championship match between the champion Leon Slater taking on the challengers of Cedric Alexander, who won a #1 contendership match and Moose, who is cashing in his rematch clause as the former X Division champion. Um, but because of visa issues, which again, TNA, you had a whole month to figure that out from from the tapings back in December after Final Resolution. But I'm not the backstage person. Leon Slater couldn't be here to defend the title, though he did promise he would still fight Cedric and Moose and give them the opportunity for the X Division Championship when he came back. So, because of this, TNA had to make some decisions, and then this ended up just becoming a regular triple threat match just because. With Cedric and Moose still being here, but tagging in for Leon Slater is NXT's newest signee star, and back in TNA after being gone for less than 30 days, Mr. Joseph Hendry is in the building. Which, of course, I know Papa Oso was very happy to see him.
Yep.
In more ways than one.
Yep. And the biggest thing about this is that this match shouldn't have happened. The minute your X Division champion couldn't be there, they should have just scrapped this whole match. Because, like I said, they're going to do it again. They're going to basically do the match anyway. So why even do this? I enjoyed watching it because all three of these guys are top notch. They're like top tier. And it was great. But because they had to change everything, then it became this really weird, like Moose got injured at basically the top of the match. And
that made me so mad because I was just like, it's a weird selling point because I'm like, why are we playing in my face?
Yeah. Because I think that they had something planned and Moose was a big part of it. And they didn't want to spoil anything. So they got him out of the match without taking him out of the match. Because then he comes in at the end and stands in the ring. And it was like, I'm like, okay. And, of course, Cedric Alexander, I think he's great. And so, it's actually, I enjoyed it. When it became a one-on-one match, it was actually really good. So when it was
Cedric
just
and
Joe and
did really
Cedric,
good, yeah.
I was like, okay, okay. Moose is going to be injured over there, laying on the floor like he was basically the whole time. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to watch these two go at it, and it did, and it was great, And I was like, God, I can't even imagine why. And then the whole time I'm like, why was this a triple threat when there was no triple threat?
That's what I said. I'm like, Moose was out for like a good chunk of this match, and then he came in for like the finishing segment. I was just like, I am curious. And we're playing this back injury. It came up again on the Thursday episode, which I'll discuss at the very end when we're done with Genesis. And here's the thing: I love Joe Hendry, but I was just like, I don't think he needed to win this match. I'm just putting it out there. But you know what?
I don't think he should have been in the match at all.
That's true. I was like, is there nobody else in this TNA roster or, another independent talent in Texas we couldn't have called? Bring KJ Orso back. Like, you could have had it for 2 matches. But to be fair, KJ probably did the pre-show match, and then he had to run on over to the GCW show that was going on at the same time in the area, too.
Yeah, I don't know why they pulled Joe back in. I really don't. I'm not complaining because I got to see him again live, but in the grand scheme of it, it didn't make any sense. They have rosters full of guys.
I was like, I'm just saying, you couldn't have put a Steve Macklin in this match. I'm just saying,
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Macklin was not even on the Genesis show whatsoever, either in a match, in a backstage, like
or
nothing.
Even
I'm like,
not mentioned at all.
I was like, Steven, where'd you go? What happened?
Yeah.
I was like, you could have put a Steve Macklin in here.
Yeah, oh my God. There's so many they could have just, Yeah, it was weird. It wasn't a horrible match. I don't think it was semi-main event worthy. But
I would have put Zarya and Liang Li here.
Oh, me too. I would have put the women's here for sure. Like, above, and yeah, absolutely. And I just is like, I mean, honestly and truly, you could have thrown like Brian Myers in this damn thing. Like, and
Honestly,
it could have been Moose Bryan against Cedric, or I don't know. This was just, yeah.
Yeah. Again, like I said, Joe Hendry pins Cedric Alexander for the win. Uh, no, Steve lost his luggage in Houston layover. It was really weird. And then Steve Macklin showing up on Thursday too, which I'm going to talk about again because I'm worried for our Lockjaw McGraw boy Steve Macklin, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But again, Joe Hendry pinning Cedric Alexander wins and ride off to the sunset back to the PC Center in Florida for NXT. Alrighty, let's get into this. Let's rip this band-aid off. This is the main event of Genesis. Again, it has, out of the three of them, it has one of my favorite peoples on the planet, Mike Santana, defending his newly won TNA World Championship in a rematch with the former champion, Frankie Kazarian, in a Texas death match with Nick Nemeth as the special guest referee, was also our current Call Your Shot Gauntlet winner, which, Erica, if you're still here, is the equivalent of the Money in the Bank briefcase, where Nick can call his shot anytime and have a championship match anytime he has. The build to this was messy because Mike Santana beat Frankie Kazarian on the AMC debut episode of TNA. And then, they cut the feed and the episode ended. And I had to find out how this match came to be because of a digital exclusive. So I'm like, gosh darn it, TNA, what did we talk about? I was like, we were going to get a rematch between these two. I'm like, why? It hasn't even been 48 hours. Why are we running this back already? And then when, our new authority figure, Miss Daria, I was just like, she had inserted Nick as special guest referee. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. We're about to get chaos. This is gonna be crazy. First of all, Nicholas, what in the bedazzled booty shorts was this? I was just like, the way his bedazzled glittery booty shorts was a statement. I was like, okay, Shawn Michaels, calm down. I was like, I could not. I was like, Nick, I love you. I could not. And honestly, I kind of was here for it, but I was also like, this is stupid.
Oh, it was. And as he was entering, everyone was just like, what the hell is happening right here?
Let me tell you, this was the main event, Erica. And honestly, the TNA World Championship will usually main event the show. But at the same time, I was just like, we just had Mike and Frankie fight like less than 48 hours before the pay-per-view on the TV episode where Mike won the title. So I was like, why are we running this back so soon?
Yeah. This match was predictable. It should have been the semi-main event. The women should have been the main event.
Honestly,
because
back at everything.
And it didn't even go that hard.
For a Texas death match, this was really tamed.
Yeah, because I still remember that match he did with JDC.
That was honestly, and the crazy thing is Mike Santana's match against Mustafa Ali at Rebellion, which was a Falls Count Anywhere match. That one was more crazier and violent than this one.
That's true. Oh, absolutely. This one was not at all. This one was tame. And I think it's because of Nick Nemeth. I think it was because of this whole shtick they were going to do with him, which they did at the end of it, and which, we all knew it was going to happen. And it was, so I was just, and I hate it. I hated it. I didn't hate the match. I just hated the concept of the match because it took away from Matt or Mike. It took away from Mike. And I'm just like, it was like, what the hell? What is this all about? I don't understand. I didn't get it. I was just like, and this, Nick being the referee, I was like, well, this is going to be a stupid match.
Yeah,
and it was.
It
totally was.
Yeah. So I love Mike Santana, but as much as I hated the fact that we literally didn't even wait.
Yeah.
we didn't wait to run Frankie and Mike back. I'm glad we got this out of the way because now with Frankie losing, it seems that Frankie is done going after Mike for right now. So Mike has a path to have some, fresher, newer opponents. Of course, Nick is still lurking around with that call your shot gauntlet. Here's the thing, and I wanna put this out there too, because me and Radio Will we're talking about this after the match. And honestly, it would be kind of funny to watch Nick Nemeth try to cash it in and Mike just stomping him out every time. And it's like, no.
See, personally, I think personally he shouldn't have another chance. I think he cashed it in. It didn't go his way. You're done. Whether you were pinfalled or not is irrelevant to me. You literally put it down. You're like, here it is. Let me do my thing. I think he should be done. I'd be like, I was literally like, you need to be done because I'm done with you.
The last 2 years of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet have not been great in terms of who has held it. The last time that it actually worked really well with the winner was when Jordan Grace won it and she cashed it in for a knockouts title match. And I'm just like, Jordan is the last person to hold this like 2 years ago or 3 years ago to make it worth a damn. But I'm just like, whatever. So Mike Santana is still our TNA World Champion. He stomped out Nick when Nick tried to cash it in. Michael Santana going into the future. Now that him and Frankie are done for now, hopefully we can allow Mike to have some fresh feuds and some fresh fights. Honestly, here's the thing. We're probably going to have smaller feuds for Mike, but ultimately I need them to start building up back Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali for the title at some point this year because I was like, that's the money match for me right now. So,
right.
But that has been TNA Genesis. Overall, again, with the bar being in hell because of the AMC debut doo-doo stain that was professional wrestling, where that show broke me because I don't give anything less than a C- on the report cards because I don't think nothing is that bad, but it was that bad and it deserved a D. But to kind of quickly run down the Thursday episode because it was fallout from Genesis as well as setting up what's to come. Again, we had a couple of things happen. Cedric Alexander and Moose opened up the show in a really, really great match. Indy Hartwell is feuding with the Elegances, which I love that Ash looks like she is slowly working her way back to be cleared, which is nice because that means that Ash needs to do it. And I would not be mad with another Ash by Elegance championship run, but I do want Liang Li to get a good run out of this. And when Danny Luna comes back, I'm ready for that match to happen like we were supposed to get here. Same thing with Leon Slater and Moose and Cedric Alexander. Let's see. Anything else? Santino's doing the dumb babyface thing where Ariana Grace came in and apologized to him and he accepted it. I was like, Santino. I was just like, we are not that stupid. Girl, get it together. She is playing you. She is playing you. She's been stigmatized. Like, that's how it works. I'm just like, oh Lord, Santino, baby faces need to stop doing dumb baby face things. So it's like, stop being stupid. Probably the biggest thing though, to kind of happen on Thursday's episode is we've got our newest member of the system. Like we were told weeks ago that after Genesis was over and JDC's final match, we will find out who the new member of the system is. And to my pleasant surprise, and Papa also to our joint pleasant surprise, it is Mr. Bear Bronson, who is the new member of the system. And my professional wrestling heart is happy. He is a lovely human being. I have had a chance to talk to him online and in person. He is a sweetheart, and this is so good for him. Also, I mean, his name is Bear, and you look at him and you're just like, damn, I get to watch that on my TV screen every week. But the crazier thing that happened is that Edward Edwards has turned heel. He dick punched JDC. Him and Brian Myers and Bear attacked Moose, ousting him from the group. Cedric Alexander also attacked Moose, and he is the new member. So the system has changed. Edward Edwards is a heel, so is Brian Myers, and their newest members, Bear and Cedric, are now officially heels too. So Very interested to see where that goes. Alicia Edwards, though, is cross in the middle because she was not told any of this, and she was kind of distraught to watch Moose get ousted from the group too. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is that Alicia is going to be with Moose for like 2 weeks, and then when Moose and Eddie have to fight each other, um, she's going to have to side. She's going to have to pick a side, and she'll probably side with her husband. Because yeah. Oh, one other thing. Feast or Fired came and reared its ugly head once again into TNA. The last time we had Feast or Fire, remember, Papa, we lost Joya as a tag team because Yuya Uemura had to go back because his excursion was coming to an end. And so they broke up Joe Hendry and Yuya. So Joya was no longer a tag team, and I'm still mad. But Feast or Fired happened. We got I don't want to say a re-debut, but Trey Miguel's back in TNA. So of that whole debacle, girl, let me tell you, it has been a week. We covered it on the AEW show because like all four of the Rascals were signed, but then Warner Brothers released Trey Miguel because some problematic tweets that came up back in 2020. Um, which is crazy because I'm like, people have done far worse on that roster that are there, but you know what? Whatever. So Trey Miguel is here. We had Feaster Fired, where in 3 out of the 4 briefcases were championship opportunities. One is a pink slip, and the 4 people that got it were Eric Young, Steve Macklin, Trey Miguel, and who am I missing? Trey Macklin, Eric. God, why am I blanking on the last person to get it? Flip. You know what? Hang on. Let me look at my notes. I'm just sitting here and I was just like, I feel dumb. Why I can't remember. It's been a day, you guys. All right. Edward Edwards. How can I forget? So Eddie, Smacklin, Eric Young, and Trey Miguel all got briefcases. So I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, the funny thing in me would be for Trey to get fired after coming back, which would be fucking hilarious. But that would only be okay with that if that means be like, hey, you're here for a week, but hey, AEW is going to sign you anyway, so go there. But now I'm worried because if we eliminate Trey from the conversation of like, who really could it be? Papa, I'm worried because I'm like, I don't like the pink slip going to Macklin. And honestly, because of the news has been reporting his contract is coming up very soon, I was just like, TNA, please sign this man. Sign this man. Don't let him go nowhere else. You need the listen. I know we give Macklin crap for his, militaristic jarhead character sometimes, but I'm like, you need him. You don't have any outside of Mike and Leon. You don't have many baby faces that could carry this company right now. And Macklin is kind of your like if we're the power of 3. Mike, Leon, and Macklin are your 3 that you want to have be the baby faces of your company right now. So I'm just like, I really hope it's not Macklin. I don't think it's Eddie Edwards either because we just turned him heel. So honestly, it's gonna come to me. It comes down to Eric Young and Macklin. I'm kind of hoping it's Eric Young because why not? But I'm gonna be scared and very upset if it is actually Macklin and it's not a storyline purpose where he gets fired, but then he can fight his way to come back. If he's actually gone, I'm gonna be very upset. But that's just me. And that has been your quick recap of this Thursday's episode of TNA. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Well, Papa, that is it. Our first TNA pay-per-view of 2026 is in the books. Again, it was not that hard to be better than the AMC debut episode. It really wasn't. But with the road to Rebellion now officially starting in April, whenever that is, we have to get through No Surrender and Sacrifice the next 2 months to see where these storylines go. And of course, we will be here to cover all the highs, the lows, and the nasties in betweens of it all. But I would like to take this time to thank Papa Oso for being with me this evening. And I'm really happy that he had a good time watching Genesis in person. And hopefully that will be me with Rebellion in April. But it will be my turn very soon because I will be going to the AEW pay-per-view in March. So it's going to be fun. But that's it for us here tonight. And that's it for BC WrestlePod this week. We are done with the week. And Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't the worst thing I had, but yeah. So Erica, I gave this a B minus on the report card. It wasn't that hard to clear the D that was the 48 hours ago from the AMC episode, but there were some really good matches, but also there were some matches that we could have switched around or did not have on the pay-per-view. I'm looking at you, Mara Sade and Ryan Nemeth. And I think the other thing, Erica, that's really hurting TNA right now, besides the visa issues, is that their roster in general is kind of running on life support at this point, with people not being resigned, people's contracts expiring, they're not holding people. I'm just like, they could not hold down the Rascals, and I was just like, what the fuck? Killer Kelly is not there no more. The Inspiration finished up with TNA after they lost the tag titles and are now gone from the company. I was just like, our UK and Canadian talents are still stuck in their home countries because of visa issues. So that includes like Danny Luna, Leon Slater, the hometown man. Crazy enough, I miss him, and Jody Threat. So I'm just sitting here. I was just like, TNA's on life support right now, and they gotta make do with what they have. So hopefully everything gets fixed, and then we can figure this crap out. Because like, God, we have 2 pay-per-views to get through in February and March, but that is it for us tonight. We still got a stacked week coming up next week. I have a full plate on my schedule, and it starts on Monday, where we have our Progress Wrestling review for In Darkest Day. Then, of course, AEW on Tuesday, NXT and CMLL on Wednesday. On Thursday, I will be doing a live watch along for MLW's Battle Riot. And then Friday, we will be here once again to talk about TNA. So, from all of us here at BC WrestlePod and the Six-Sided Scholars, our TNA pay-per-view squad, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you next week for a fun week of post-show breakdowns. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.